In a recent speech in Gujarat, Prime Minister Modi made a reference to how Sardar Patel's advice to Nehru regarding the POK was ignored in 1947, resulting in the problem that we have today. How true is this? What are the facts behind this? All this and more in this very interesting monologue. And a small request to all of you to please like this video. If you've already not subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe to our channel. So what happened? I'm going to tell you stories based on 3 or 4 different factual recollections of what happened. So I'm going to weave in not just the data presented in the slide deck, but also my recollections of what happened through the eyes of many people who were very intimately involved with this. Here we go. Sardar Patel had advised Nehru when India had recaptured or secured Jammu and Kashmir. The fighting was going on where current LOC is, that India should continue and get back the entire Kashmir. But Nehru said no. Why did he say no? What was the reason for that? Did he have any special affinities for his friend 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗪 Abdullah? And why did Nehru hate Maharaja Hari Singh so much? All these things I'm going to cover because there is a basis, there's a reason for each one of these things. But it also tells you how immature a person Jawaharlal Nehru was, and even more immature a politician Jawaharlal Nehru was. Sardar Patel understood what India was much better than him. It was a grave error on part of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi to have selected Jawaharlal Nehru as the president of the Congress in 1946, because the president of the Congress party in 1946 was going to go on to become the Prime Minister of India. So here we go. Why did this whole thing come up now? Modi was speaking at an urban development event in Gandhinagar, where he said that the Pahalgam attack of April 2025 would not have happened if India had completely resolved the POK issue. Why did he say that? Because he said that the 1947 partition was mishandled and this resulted in long-term consequences. There was a treachery on part of the British. Also remember, viewers, when the British officers who were serving in India were given a choice of serving under the Indian army or the Pakistani army, a majority chose Pakistani army. For some reason, they felt that their life would be better there. I have no clue as to what the reasoning was. And there is always this inherent what I would call as some sort of, they always look down on Hindus. For some reason, it appears that Muslims are better than Hindus as far as the British are in those days. These were racist bastards, I'm telling you. Because I know some stories, especially around members of my family. I don't want to put them out in the public today, but there are stories that have been told by my parents, my grandparents, as to how they used to suffer under the racial discrimination of the British. That's all water under the bridge today. Now, chains should have been cut, implying decisive action was needed at the time to prevent future conflict. The first one was what happened when India, having got the accession letter from the Maharaja Hari Singh of Jammu and Kashmir, what did India do? Well, India landed its troops in Srinagar and they secured what is current Kashmir, but they didn't go all the way and drive out the invaders from what they had occupied. For example, Mirpur, Muzaffarabad areas. Why did they not do that? Nehru didn't want that happening. Even though Patel was really stressing that Pakistanis should be driven out of the entire Kashmir, Nehru did not want to do that. Why? Because he said that, it is Sheikh Abdullah who needs to decide. And it was a needless thing to bring in Sheikh Abdullah at that point of time. It is believed that he wanted to snub Maharaja Hari Singh. In fact, Maharaja Hari Singh was placed under house arrest once this accession happened. Why? Because Maharaja Hari Singh did not want Nehru to come when he was trying to get some legislations passed in the Kingdom of Jammu and Kashmir. This predates independence. At that point of time, he told Nehru not to come and that if he came, he would be arrested. Jawaharlal Nehru ignored the warning of Maharaja Hari Singh and he did land up there and he was indeed arrested. Maybe he felt that it was a personal slight and he wanted to take revenge. See the pettiness of these people. These people were actually ruling over the entire country of India. He also turned down the request of Kalat to merge with India. All these things were done unilaterally without even consulting the cabinet. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how these things played out when the time came for taking the critical decisions. We all know that Jammu and Kashmir had signed a standstill agreement with both Pakistan and India till they decided what they wanted to do. And the main reason for this, it is believed, was that Maharaja Hari Singh did not like Nehru. So it was a mutual thing. Both didn't like the other one. They both distrusted each other. So it was probably a single person's decision that he is going to entrust Sheikh Abdullah with Kashmir. And for some reason, he didn't even want to consult others. It appears it was a very critical role that Sam Manekshaw played during all this stuff, and which was that when Manekshaw and a couple of other people landed to get the Maharaja to sign the accession agreement, they needed Maharaja to come back with them to Delhi to sign it. And the Srinagar airport didn't have lights. So planes had to only take off and land during daytime. But it was, by the time they got everything, they got the situation report and everything, it had already turned dark. And what Sam Manekshaw did was he organized local troops to carry torches at the exact points where you would have had lights on a runway to enable that plane to take off for the Maharaja to come to New Delhi to sign the letter of accession. A lot of people have done some crazy things to get to that point, but unfortunately, when it came for India to retaliate, they stopped. They stopped at the border of what is today LOC. Imagine if India had rightfully claimed everything that used to be Jammu and Kashmir Kingdom, what could have happened? There are a lot of things here, a lot of stories here. For example, Chief of Army of India at that point of time was a Britisher, and the Chief of Army of Pakistan was also a Britisher. And it is believed that the guy, the Indian Chief of Army, was actually quietly colluding with his counterpart in Pakistan, and they used to converse in French, thinking that Indian intelligence organization at that point didn't know French, so therefore they could do it. But as luck would have it, Indians had intelligence people who understood, spoke French very fluently, so they knew exactly what these people were up to. There's also some dubious roles played by other people. Mountbatten also is a little shaky here. Basically, the British wanted Pakistan as a buffer zone because they had oil interests in Iran, they had oil interests in Iraq, they had oil interests in all of what is Middle East. They used to be in control over this entire region, and they were afraid that if Pakistan is not created, that the Russians could just march right in. And somebody had sown this wild idea in Nehru's mind that India, an independent India, didn't even need an army. Can you believe that? The guy was an absolute jackass, if you ask me, in terms of maturity. And the more I read, the more I feel like, how the hell did Gandhi choose him when Patel was a lot more pragmatic? He knew exactly what would work and what would not work. And he united 500 plus kingdoms. And the one thing that Nehru said that he will handle, he made a mess of it. So what Patel has said was, he said we should go and get back every inch of the occupied area in Kashmir, but Nehru had a more idealistic and internationalistic view in his approach. And he believed in resolving the matter through UN and diplomatic channels. He feared alienation of Muslim population and international backlash. During the time of war, you just go and do what is right. You don't worry about consequences at that point. Not only that, this is where the thing really happened. Nehru did not take the cabinet's approval before approaching United Nations. In fact, he didn't even tell Patel. And Patel came to know of it only when he had got notification that Nehru was already at the AIR studio and he was about to make a speech to the country. And Patel rushed to the AIR studios to stop him, but just as he was a little bit late. By that time, Nehru had already announced that India is taking this thing to the United Nations. And United Nations didn't exactly rule it India's way. And he thought, Jawaharlal Nehru thought, and this is again, a lot of bad advice from Mountbatten and who else. And basically, I'm telling you, this Pagar is not, he was somebody whose head was in the clouds, and socialism and all that nonsense. And I have a feeling Gandhi's arms got twisted into choosing Nehru over Patel. By who? Well, somebody will write a book sometime after going through all the archives. But it is my belief that the British wanted Nehru and not Patel as the first Prime Minister of India. And then there was a lot of nudging that took place. We all don't know what are all the things Gandhi did with the viceroys of that period. Many people say that this guy had some side letter agreements with them, saying that even this is the main agreement, I will not do this, I will not do this, I will not do this, I will not do this. I have some friends who have seen these documents, so I'm not just speaking out of thin air. Gandhi also has much to explain on his behavior, on his choosing Nehru as the president of 1946 Congress Party when the entire country had chosen Sardar Patel. Anyway, so we know what happened. United Nations asked for a plebiscite, and they wanted Pakistan to vacate the occupied territory and have a plebiscite, and Pakistan is not going to do that. And he has not done it, he will not do it. They'll have to be driven out of there, assuming India wants POK, which itself is now in doubt given the amount of venom that has been filled between their ears. And I'm sorry to say this thing, even Kashmir Valley suffers from this problem. The Kashmiris who are there, they are essentially Hindus who got converted over a period of 700 years. And if they can't go back and see their history for what it is, I'm sorry, these people are still ignorant, and they are, not going to go very far in life. And why was this great affinity between Sheikh Abdullah and Nehru? Well, there are some theories. I'm not going to allude to them. And these theories point to a possibility of them being, well, you know what I'm talking about. The 𝗟𝗡𝗞𝗦 book that has somehow disappeared off the shelf of every library known to mankind. Article 370. When Article 370 was drafted, Patel was against it, and so was Ambedkar. Both of them were against it. Then Nehru got his friend 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗏 𝗖𝗪𝗏 to draft it, and Patel didn't want this thing, but he only reluctantly agreed after Nehru bypassed him. Basically, there was a big Cold War going on between Patel and Nehru. And initially, it was Mountbatten who was like a bridge. And once Mountbatten's turn was up, it was Rajaji who was maintaining the peace. In fact, after Rajaji stepped down as the Governor General, he was given a ministry without portfolio in the central cabinet. And this was mainly to try and keep the nation moving forward, because Nehru and Patel were no longer seeing eye to eye on any topic. You have to look at many movies which are all pretty factual. A movie called Sardar, which H.M. Patel produced. H.M. Patel was Sardar's secretary, and there's a lot of truth here. In fact, I rate that as a better movie than Attenborough's Gandhi. Although Attenborough's Gandhi is a little bit bigger canvas, this one was much more during the period of 1946 to 1948. But that is the critical part when India got formed. So Sardar gives you the insight into that. Sam Bahadur is another good movie that talks about what Sam Manekshaw's role was, how his friend Yahya Khan went on to become the dictator in Pakistan. There's a lot of interesting tidbits there also. Also, I've told you about this book about In the Shadow of the Great Game by the last aide-de-camp to Mountbatten. I'm not remembering his name. I've referred to this many times. So all these things have to be looked at before we understand what were the reasons why Nehru did what he did. But unfortunately, after all these stuff, now we are stuck with this problem. Perhaps we will never want to even get POK back. I don't know. India has to make that call. The people of POK have to understand that religion is not what gives you food to the table. It is being a human being, and this is a big change for them, because their religion says, kill the Kafirs. This part has to be kind of wiped out from all their books and their thought. I don't know when that's going to happen. In fact, first India needs to reform Kashmir Valley. And once Kashmir Valley starts thinking like the mainstream India, I think then there is hope for POK to become part of India. That's a better way to look at this thing. And when is the Kashmir Valley going to play ball? Well, they are seeing the Pahalgam incidents after effects. Some of them colluded. They've seen their houses getting razed down, bulldozed. They are in jail. But is this going to change the mind that it's not worth supporting these terrorists? I doubt it, because these people are not somebody who are going to just like that give up their ideology and their thought. And as long as you have madrasas, those things need to be closed. I don't know when India is going to do that. Madrasas have no place in a modern society. They need to be completely shut down. Doesn't matter which part of India. And if there is a mosque found harboring extremist elements as well as knives and other things that are not supposed to belong in a place of worship, those things also have to be shut down, and the people who are running those mosques have to be acted upon. I think this is all going to happen. I have a feeling. So now where we are, the creation of Pak occupied Kashmir has long-term consequences. We know that India is probably not in a mood to take over, but then if you don't do that, then this problem will keep happening of infiltration through terrorism and things like that. But there are ways to get around this thing. There are ways to mitigate this. I've described this in an upcoming book of mine. When I release it, you'll understand how this needs to be tackled. I've done the whole work. I'm just waiting for a few things to fall in place before I start releasing this book. So who are the people who are telling us that there were serious disagreements between Sardar Patel and Nehru? P.P. Menon, Patel's secretary, has confirmed that Patel had serious disagreements with Nehru on this, and letters and cabinet notes show Patel wanted strong and immediate action. And he said, Patel has reportedly said, if you handle foreign affairs, allow me to handle Kashmir and Hyderabad. But Nehru wanted Kashmir for himself for reasons best known to him, and I think I know what it is. Again, like I said, immature idiot, and unfortunately, India is continuing to pay a price for all these bad actions of one ignorant ignoramus. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.